While we've been grinding the final mastery camo in Modern Warfare 2, the Orion camo, there's been one challenge I've come across that was way harder than what I expected it to be, and I've seen a lot of other people struggling with it, so I'm going to go ahead and make a guide for it. This being the long shot challenge. I think they've increased the range for most weapons in this game, and in other games what would normally count for a long shot no longer counts for a long shot in this game. When I first started going for this, I was only getting a couple a game, but after I figured out some decent strategies, I can almost get all 25 in most of the games I played. In this video, we're going to be going over all those strategies, the class setup you want to use. We're going to talk about the 6v6 method, then we're going to go into the ground war method, which is what I recommend. And this is important because if you're going for platinum camos, all of the weapons that aren't knives, melee weapons, or rocket launchers require you to get long shots while going from gold to platinum. That means if you're going to get the Orion camo, you're going to need over 1,100 total long shots before you're going to be finished. So you definitely want to get a good method down for grinding these as quick as possible. Now, I am still working on the ultimate Orion guide that goes over everything you could possibly want to know about unlocking the Orion camo, but that guide's still going to take a little bit more time. And I know a lot of you guys are getting really close to getting this platinum camo, so I wanted to get this guide out in the meantime. But if you wanted to sub to the channel, I'm going to go through and break down everything you could possibly want to know about getting the Orion camo as quickly and as effectively as you can. So starting off, let's go over the class setup you want to be using. And no, we are not going to be going over all 45 different weapons and showing the best attachments on all of them. One, because it would make this video extremely long and it just wouldn't be necessary. The way this game works and the way you unlock attachments, if you're doing all the SMGs first and then going for those long shots, you're not going to have a lot of the other platform attachments needed. So you wouldn't even be able to use the attachments I'm talking about. Instead, I'm going to show you how to pick out your own attachments so that way you can use the attachments that are best for you at that certain time. Starting off, one of the most important attachments is going to be the optic you are using. The long range in this game is so long that I can't really do it that well on iron sights, and I found myself being greatly impacted by using a scope, and not even like a 5 times. I found this scope right here, this 8 times, the MW2 optic, very helpful. But if you don't have this unlocked, try other like 7.5 magnifications and other scopes around this, maybe even a 5x5. You might not need to go this ridiculous for maybe an SMG, but if you're using a battle rifle or an AR, I would recommend an 8 times optic. It does help a lot. The second most important attachment is going to be the underbarrel. If you scroll all the way to the back, you're going to find these bipods, and with the strategy I use, these bipods actually help out a lot. This is the only time in the game's life cycle I'm probably ever going to use these. But the one that I would go with is the one that stops aim walking movement speed. This is the one that is probably going to help you the most throughout this, but any of these 3 will do. But I'm going to be using the cornerstone bipod. Now, besides these 2 attachments, you want to start looking for other attachments that increase your damage range and also reduce your recoil. So this one gives us more damage range and bullet velocity. That's going to be extremely helpful, so we're going to go for that. Now let's see if we can find one that reduces our recoil just a little bit. So if we go here to muzzle, we might be able to get a muzzle break that gives us a little bit less right here. Horizontal recoil control and vertical recoil control. Yeah, we're going to be losing some aim down sight speed, but since we're going for long shots, we're going to be pre-aiming. That's not going to matter too much for us, so we're going to go ahead and put that on it. Bigger magazines help too, so if you don't have those, slapping on some additional bullets is going to help you as well. Yeah, it's going to make you ADS lower, but we're going to be pre-aiming for these. Same thing, movement speed, we're going to be camping for these. Those are the best way to go about getting long shots. So when you want to focus on putting on attachments on any full auto weapon, try to lower the horizontal and vertical recoil, try to increase the damage range and bullet velocity, and if you have an extra attachment slot, try to go and add a bigger magazine, as it's going to give you more rounds to use at a longer distance. Now, this is going to be the class setup I recommend for all weapons except for a few categories. So ARs, that's the strategy you want to follow. Battle rifles follow the same strategies. SMGs don't use as ridiculous as an optic. You could get away with a lot less. Try like a 4 times or maybe even just a red dot sight for the SMGs. Now, shotguns is where it's going to differ a lot. So we've got a different setup here for shotguns. Shotguns, you don't need an optic at all. In this, your recoil doesn't matter. Shotguns is going to take so long to recover. With this, the biggest thing you want to focus on for shotguns is damage range, bullet velocity, and tighter pellet spread. That is going to be extremely important. For most shotguns, there is going to be a slug attachment if you've unlocked it, and this is going to give you damage range and it's going to give you bullet velocity, which is what you want to focus on. The muzzle attachment for shotguns is also super helpful. You're going to be able to get more tighter bullet spread and damage range for those as well. And then just look at the rest of the attachments. Focus on damage range, tighter pellet spread, and overall damage for the shotguns. Snipers vary a little bit. LMGs follow the same strategy used for assault rifles. Same thing, marksman rifles treat them like assault rifles. For sniper rifles, it's going to be a little bit different. The recoil on these doesn't matter. Since they're bolt action weapons, you're not going to have much of an issue to do with recoil. The most important thing you want to focus on for snipers is bullet velocity and damage range, but more importantly, bullet velocity. This is going to allow you to hit easier shots at long range, and out of all weapons in the game, obviously sniper rifles have the longest long shot distance, so focus on that. Maybe ADS speed a little bit, because the snipers do aim in a little bit slow, so I'd recommend doing that. And I wouldn't worry about using a bipod. The sniper bipods are not going to be that effective. So like I said, for the ARs, you want to be running the bipod for those. The sniper rifles and the shotguns are the only weapons in the game that you want to skip out on a bipod. So focus on damage range, bullet velocity, and a little bit of ADS speed. And if you're having issues hitting your shots, you could go with even more of a ridiculous scope here with the sniper rifles. I think they've got, 13 times. Yeah, all the way up to 13 times. Now for the rest of the class setup, secondary doesn't matter. Tactical doesn't matter. I like to run Claymore, so just in case there's a ladder, we can put that there. It's not going to help too much. For the perk package, I don't really care too much what's in the first two perks. This is going to help you out too much. The second tier is going to help you. I personally run cold-blooded. However, if I was going to be getting long shots for sniper rifles, I would switch this to focus, so I'd have that extended hold breath duration. But for anything that's not a sniper rifle, I'd recommend cold-blooded. For the final one, you have a few different options. I run high alert. That way, if someone's looking at me as I'm sitting in the back, I'll know immediately. Ghost is also really good. That way you're not on the UAVs. Bird's Eye could also be pretty helpful, but me personally, high alert's my go-to. On 6v6, there's not a lot of maps that have good spots to get long shots for, unless you're using an SMG, a shotgun, or a pistol. These weapons don't have to be near as long as the other weapons. The long shot range is pretty simplified for these, and you really don't need any special spots for these. However, if you're using an AR, a marksman rifle, a battle rifle, a sniper, or an LMG, these you're going to need a lot longer of a distance to get these kills to count. And right now we're on Crown Raceway. This is one of the few 6v6 maps with good spots right down this pathway right here. And same thing on this side is pretty good for long shots as well. What you want to do is you want to be able to just sit down, lay down. And since we've got the bipod, we can mount up, which is going to remove a significant amount of recoil. Here is it shooting normally. As you can see, it jumps all over the place. But if we sit down here, we use our thing, we can now hit way more accurate shots. That's going to help you get a lot of these. Playing objective modes like domination is going to make where more people come down these lines of sights. And then if we go over to this other side, you're going to be able to do the same thing. We just come up here, we're going to want to lay down and then look across, mount up, and we're good to go. Obviously, it doesn't matter what side of the map you're on. You could be over here or over here. Now for the other 6v6 map, I recommend getting long shots on. We've got El Asilo. Hopefully I pronounced that right. We've got two decent lines of sight. We got right here on this side and then the opposite side over here. This one's not as good as the other one. We've got, a couple spots up here, but unless you've got like a hard point or people going to a different objective point over there, people don't seem to go in this area too often. This side is way better, so I'd recommend trying over here, seeing if people come on this side first, come on top of this hill, or once again, you could be in the building over there, and you're just going to get the people as they come across here. This doesn't have as much traffic as Raceway, and you're not going to get as many long shots, but it's definitely the second best map to get them on. Besides that, I don't really recommend the other 6v6 maps. Yes, there's really big maps like TerraQ that have massive lines of sight. If we come down here, look at how far this area is. But the thing about these maps are these just aren't that high traffic. You're not going to see a ton of people in that area. And if you're trying to get these done in a couple of games or one game, you're not going to get that many just sitting in this area. On this map, people mostly rush towards the middle, and the engagements that you're going to end up getting in aren't going to be near as big as the size of the map itself. That is, unless you're using a pistol, an SMG, or a shotgun. Remember, the long shot range for those weapons isn't near as long. So if you're using a pistol, most of the 6v6 maps are going to be fine. Like, you'll be able to get people right here, right there. However, if you're using an AR, that's not going to be a long shot. But for a shotgun, any 6v6 map's gonna do. Moving on to the ground war method, and this is the method I prefer because I get more per minute on this one. And keep in mind, you have to get over 1,000 long shots in total if you're getting the Orion camo. So you want to maximize this as much as possible. And make sure you're playing ground war, not invasion. Invasion has bots. Bots do not count for camo progression. Essentially, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be getting on top of a building and we're going to be mounting and then proceeding to shoot people. Some maps are going to be better than others. This is my favorite map for it. Santai, right here. I'm not going to butcher the name of this. The worst part about this is if you're not using a sniper rifle, the ARs and battle rifles are going to be at a disadvantage versus snipers. At the super long ranges, You might not want to engage in too many of those unless you're using a sniper rifle, because that's where sniper rifles have a major advantage. Now, on top of this building's another spot I really like, and once you find a spot you like, you can add your tactical insurgent down. That way you keep spawning, because when you die in ground war, it takes forever to go. So here we go. There's going to be a long... Oh, yep, there was a long shot right there. There's going to be another one right there if we can hit her shots, but nope. Oh, I got him. Another one right there. This is where I've gotten the majority of my long shots before on the last grind. I really, really like this spot. Depending on the playstyle of the enemies, though, if you got a lot of people sniping, it might be a little bit of a struggle. But once you get into that good lobby, no joke, you should be able to get all 25 in one single game. It might take a few tries to get in that lobby, but there's another long shot. That's another double long shot. So what are we up to? 5? When I first started going for long shots, no joke, I was getting 1 or 2 per game before I started using these strategies, but 2 games max, maybe 3 if you get in 3 bad games in a row. But 1 game on this map, you might be able to finish all 20. There's another long shot. So it's really not that bad. You just kind of have to do it differently than what you did in past CODs. Past CODs, I would go into 6v6 and find a long angle. So now we've already got our tac insert down. So here's some ammo. And that's why we got the ammo box, is to get more ammo here. There we go. And yeah, this is a good lobby. So in this lobby, we'd easily be able to get all 25 long shots without a problem, because I think that's our 8th. Oh, nope, he dived. Dude, come on. There we go. And that's why I like the 8 times. This 8 times with a bipod is just fire for taking down enemies. But with that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. That way I can go back in game, start grinding more camos. That way I can get the Orion camo and start working on the Orion guide. If you have any additional tips to add to this, make sure to leave them below. That way I can add them in the full version of the guide. But yeah, if you follow this strategy, you should be able to get all your long shots in 1, maybe 2 games. It's a bad game. If this helps you out, make sure to leave a like or a comment. I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.